I want to see some bonks. We are getting to picks and bans for the first game of the night. Again, TT with a win in this series will lock in LPL playoffs. We'll see them on the blue side. They already picked up the Poppy, which is a perfect pickup for Beichuan. RA, they went with that Nidalee comfort, and they grabbed the Jinx as well.
Yeah, we said if the Poppy's available, it'll get locked in. Hoya goes for that, but the Nidalee, Leyan found his opportunity. Ucal grabs himself that Sylas, though. This is a pick that has been dominating in the LPL. Ucal actually having an 83% win rate on the Sylas. Obviously, his Talia and his Azir getting banned away. He still has an answer, but Strive just goes straight over for a Zoe in the matchup. This is his second of the split.
I actually really like the poke comp coming out from Ari. It's very obvious what they're going for, and I feel like TT have a lot of up-in-your-face potential, so it might make it a little bit more difficult when you're trying to pick apart these fights for RA. But so far, like we said, it's very obvious what they're going for. They're trying to go for this kind of standoff poke composition, at least Leyan maybe find some more aggression, and then lead that into iBoy carrying on the Jinx. But into the second phase, we have a lot of potential target bans, right? We get the Braum from RA, but it's the Jax banned away from Cube and taking away some of that top lane strength.
Yeah, so the Jack's being banned away. I just want to say, I want to throw this in before the next round of picks comes through. Cube loves Jace, historically. Like, Cube absolutely adores Jace. It would fit this composition well. Now, it's not a meta top laner. It's not something that's standard, and it's not something that'll be great if Hoya goes for, like, a Sejuani. However, in terms of, like, Zoe setting up a bubble, Jace Shockblast, a Nidalee Spear, and a Jinx Rocket, like, that's a hell of a combo to come out if RA do want to go just full maximum range.
And that's what I would be looking for, right? I mean, I think you do need a little bit of setup, so the Nautilus does just that. I think Yuyanjia will have the keys to the car, at least at this point for RA, if they want to go for an engage. But he'll be hoping, everybody's throwing Coke cans and stuff out of the window before he goes for the engage.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Hoya goes for the Sejuani, though. And then final lock-in. You just want some engage, right? You want a big tanky boy to protect your Aphelios, but also to get these fights started. So I know. Look how bruisery this squad is from TT. But against the Sejuani, you probably don't really want to go for the Jace that I was talking about before. He's not going to do so hard.
I feel like Sejuani
probably just kills Jace in lane.
I mean, at this point, like, this tankiness is going to be ridiculous. I need to see RA get an early advantage here to make that poke actually last, right? But the Aatrox will be a nice little bridge for that aggression in the top lane. I feel like if he can really link up with Leyan.
Yeah, the Aatrox should have a relatively comfortable matchup against Hoya. One thing I will say, the Ignite for Hoya, crucial, because obviously Aatrox all about the sustain, so good to have that extra bit of damage there. But in terms of the way that these compositions are going to work out, I will say I really like the Alistar lock-in specifically because it means you have someone that can comfortably face check against a Zoe, right? When Zoe lands a bubble on you, you're going to get massive damage from the whole enemy team. Alistar can just pop the Unbreakable Will. So you've got a way of walking into River if you've fallen behind, because the way compositions with like this Zoe and Jinx and Nidalee are going to work is if RA can get on those objectives first, control vision, get deep vision even, and set up on the objective, forcing TT to move in, they're in a really fantastic position. It's very difficult to push towards one of these compositions, whereas for TT, they just want to engage, right? They want to get scrapping. They want to be up close and personal. And you see that with the Alistar, with the Sylas, with the Poppy, with the Sejuani. And then Aphelios kind of chilling on the backline, right? He's just going to be following up. You don't anticipate Kepler being under much direct threat this game. He's going to be following the rest of his squad.
I feel like he is going to be in an episode of Dodgeball, though, because he's going to be the one not needing to get hit by any of that poke. But everybody else is going to be fine. I'm hoping to see some a little bit of team play there in terms of helping Kepler out. But this matchup is so important. We have very differing styles coming into this first game for both teams. I wouldn't have it any other way. Playoff implications on the line for this best of three. It's TT versus RA.
And I'm hoping that we get a bit of a banger here, Mazel, especially in our early game. We've got Leyan on Nidalee, which is very much a signature pick for Leyan. When you look over his career, when you look at him over the years, no matter the meta, no matter what's going on, no matter what team he's on, this Nidalee has always been a comfort pick for him. And it's good to see him on that comfort. It's his most played of his entire career, 70% win rate over 41 games as well. Like, the man is a monster on this pick. And against the Poppy, like, in that farm off, in that war, he's going to win every single time. So Leyan actually would like less action in the early game, whereas Beichuan really wants to make things happen in the lanes.
I will just say I was sorry. There's an absolute bias for me for LPL poppies. LPL poppies are just a different breed, especially like seeing a lot of our master tier junglers just absolutely pilot this champion and be so oppressive. I look at like the upside for the poppy, and I'm really looking at Leyan to try to prove something here. We are getting this level 1 kerfuffle, I guess I'm going to call it, as Hoya is here. Leyan immediately pulls the trigger to run away. And iBoy and Yuyanjia, why are you there? The entirety of TT's ire is now just on to iBoy. He does have to flash. So a couple little summoner spells burned on both sides.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you, Mazel. That was one of the worst invades I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure. I really don't know what the game plan was for RA. Like, clearly the team was not on the same page as one another, but they warded Hoya. They saw that Hoya was there. They saw that it's a 4v5, and maybe just considering you're against an Alistar, thinking, you know, that they don't really have 4 champions, but iBoy and Yuyanjia staying way longer than the rest of the team. Now a hook.
They are in a 2v2 problem, but iBoy, oh, Yaoyao. Beautiful pulverize to stop everything. Kepler going to be able to heal back up a little bit more.
Yeah, very well played by Yaoyao to deny that one, saying even at level 1, my Alistar is a champion.
Oh, no.
Beichuan moving to the bottom side.
They're
Kepler's
playing
in trouble.
aggressive. Oh no, Kepler, he's going to go down. No flash, beautifully timed. iBoy, he's taking so much damage from the minions, and he's just going to die to the big old cow. Yaoyao deserves that one for that pulverized finish, and Yuyanjia will make it out after watching his ADC die.
You just see how long Poppy's cooldowns are in the early game. Beichuan just autos Yuyanjia about 7 times there, but just doesn't have anything else to do. You can see Cube, though, pushing up in the top side. Obviously, having an advantage off of the fact that Hoya was a part of the level 1 play. Cube just had a wave to himself, and you can see that big CS lead there. But I'm loving the aggression that we're already seeing from the junglers getting involved on the bottom side.
That's what the Poppy has to do, with Beichuan doing so nicely. Kepler with the beautiful flash. Yaoyao keeping the CC intact on iBoy. Those minions doing serious work as well. And at the end, it's fine, right? Like, you got iBoy's flash. You also got a kill onto him. And now he's even more punishable. So you see, Beichuan, I didn't even know this was coming. I didn't know, Munchables. He doesn't have it.
No.
Oh, he throws up the cat. Yaoyao's coming in for the headbutt pulverize. iBoy, he is just dead. The pulverize comes out. One more auto attack, and they get it to Kepler. Now Beichuan gets it. There you go.
I just love how little damage TT have in these scenarios. It takes them so long to kill iBoy, but with a Poppy and an Alistar, they easily finish that one off. The wave in a terrible spot there for iBoy as well. So really disastrous start to the game here for RA down at the bottom side, especially when you're running a scaling AD carry against a scaling AD carry, and Kepler gets 2 free assists. You got a kill on your Alistar and on your Poppy. Like, look at the wave. This is disastrous.
But this is such good gameplay from TT. They know there's a wound down here,
no.
and they see it. It's festering, Munchables. They are just picking it apart. It's going to become a problem.
They're like, you know what, Leyan? You want to play the Nidalee? You want to farm up in the early game?
No,
I'm just going to kill your bottom lane over and over and over and over again. Beichuan spotted, though, does have flash, but I don't think he's escaping this one. I was wrong.
No, he has flash. There you go. You pointed it out yourself. Oh, man. I was going to say, Leyan, just don't look down here. Look somewhere else. But he comes, he punishes a little bit at least. I still say 3-0 victory, at least in the early game for TT, is looking real good.
Yeah, I will say, crucially, the gold 1,000 ahead across the board. In the jungle, you'll actually see Leyan ahead, even though there's a kill in the pocket of Beichuan. Like, a over 20 CS lead for Leyan so far, because he's on the Nidalee, and he knows how to power farm. So far, he's had 2 jungles to focus on, because he went for the top quadrant of Beichuan as well. So Beichuan, crucially, has set himself quite far behind to get Kepler ahead. So we have to keep our eyes on Kepler in the upcoming fights. He needs to be a massive force to be reckoned with on behalf of TT.
And iBoy can still be punished, right? His flash is still down. Yes, he has the cleanse, but I would wonder if Beichuan wants to put more resources down there. It looks like he's going to go back to try clear out some of this vision to the top side, go to his empty jungle as Leyan continuously just farming it up. We'll actually end up getting the Gromp here for Beichuan, but it's just a mere consolation prize. But at this point, I want to look forward for Beichuan because he has put all those resources in bottom lane. I wonder if we do see him kind of change that a little bit, try to help out Hoya in this top lane where Cube has just been oppressive.
Yeah, Cube having a really good time. Obviously, having the counter matchup and also having that really good level 1 is like two factors that are going to compound on one another. So Hoya having a bit of a struggle up there. Not going to be the end of the world, though, because crucially, it's Sejuani, right? Sejuani, not one of these champions that's massively reliant on getting a lane lead. Like, once you're level 6, you're still going to be useful in a team fight. You're still going to be able to get a couple of tank items and just be a brick wall for your team, unless you fall really dramatically behind. So I think he should be fine. The key thing I want to look at, though, is you've got Strive in the mid lane, or not in the mid lane. They're moving down, actually, Mazel. Okay, so an invade on the red buff. It could turn into a dive in the bottom lane, too.
I'm wondering if they do actually go for this. I mean, you have double hover in mid lane. Beichuan and Ucal are actually still there trying to push that wave out. Yaoyao's going to be looking for a little bit of vision control down here, but I think they feel that something is wrong. They will just step up a little bit, and everything goes plain here in the end. And now we have Dragon on the table here, Munchables, but in all actuality, I would definitely see it in TT's favor here because as you see the pressure kind of relieve towards the bottom lane that Ari is moving out, I actually don't see TT moving into that Dragon Pit.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is Beichuan is falling massively behind, right?
He is.
TCS lead for Leyan. Leyan will full level up as well. You can anticipate that this is going to maintain as well because Leyan knows how to play this Nidalee, knows how to path to really cripple Beichuan, and you can see that in the CS differences, right? We saw Leyan taking the early quadrant on the top side earlier on in the game, and now going for that invade on the red buff as well. Every single opportunity, Leyan is moving in for these invades. And one of the issues we've seen for RA across the course of this split is Strive and Leyan not really working together super well. But this Nidalee Zoe combo is so effective that it can work out for them. Dive on the bottom side, though. TT want to keep this ball rolling.
Oh, the flash comes out. The cleanse also. iBoy not going to survive for long. Nicely tanked from Yaoyao. Kepler taking an extra tower shot there, but that'll be an easy kill. 4-0 in favor of TT. Yuyanjia almost got in transition there as well.
I feel like TT have sort of agreed with you on the idea of playing near the dragon. They're like, we could play the dragon, or we could just kill everyone in the bottom side and go for the dive instead.
That sounds better.
Once again is like, oh, your bottom side, I'm taking your camps on the top lane. So again, these two teams trading for an advantage on Leyan versus an advantage on Kepler. And I'm going to be totally honest, Mazel, I'd take the advantage on Kepler every single day of the week. That's a 202 Aphelios.
Hey, something about 200 years. I don't know. You just gotta add that in there somewhere. It will be the dragon.
200 poppy gangs, I think.
Yeah, 200 poppy gangs. Something like that. TT, there is a bit of a trade here. They'll get the dragon. The Rift Herald obviously taken by Leyan. It'll be immediately popped in mid lane as well. So just trying to get some resources towards Strive. Maybe help that roaming a little bit more.
Nice. That'll be 4 plates in that mid lane as well. The Herald kind of trolling a little bit, walking forward really before the charge. But all things considered, Strive and Leyan getting a ton of gold off of this play. So it really feels like this mid-jungle getting massively ahead for RA and trading that for an advantage in the bottom side. You see, iBoy will finally get a plate. Might be able to turn that into 2. I'm not quite sure if he'll have the damage to finish that one off. Crucially, I thought Kepler was going to be able to get more off of the previous play, right? Had red and white weapons, got a bit of time onto the plates on the other side, but deciding to go for the reset instead. So the CS advantage in the bottom lane, not as dramatic as you would expect, to be quite honest.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at the CS differentials towards the other side of the map. Leyan is just heads it above Beichuan, but as well as Cube with that pressure in the top lane, the early advantage, right? He's still maintaining a pretty big CS lead. So we'll see how that works out, and especially where Beichuan at this point looks 2 decks, because Leyan is just fine farming. He has just been having a good time. You know, something about nature, something about cougars. They're feeling comfortable. And Beichuan has been the one that has been proactive. That's kind of what we were asking for, at least for TT as well, early on in the pre-sections of the game. And I think we're seeing that, but it's not panning out necessarily for them because of the other advantages we've seen.
Seeing everyone stacking up in the river here, and it's a good bubble, but you can't really get that much damage. I say that's a fair chunk, honestly, onto Beichuan. Does need to be a little cautious. And you can see, already going with the Merc Treads, right? Because he knows that there's going to be a lot of magic damage coming his way this game.
You gotta go with that extra safety as well as a little bit of tenacity. Probably gonna help out.
It's also
as
just
well.
for the bubble, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
the
Oh, the max range, and he flashes. Oh, not into the wall though. That's really unfortunate. So some poke back from Strive, but it'll be an attempted play by TT in the mid lane.
Man, look at this Jiffy Diffy, though. 62 CS in favor of Leyan so far in this game. So, yes, Beichuan did a good job of getting some ganks out in the early game, but he's 2 levels down for that, and now he wants to go for more ganks again.
Strive is here with a little bit of reinforcement from Leyan, but he's already dead. Ucal just gets the kill here, and afterwards... Oh, Yaoyao taking some damage from that tower. Mega Death Rocket coming across. Can iBoy get it? Not enough damage. He doesn't have it yet.
I thought it was going to get a triple hit there. Yaoyao was kind of low as well. I was a little nervous, but this is only a level 7 Jinx, right? No significant item, so it's not going to do that much damage at this point in the game. And I feel like for TT, they are kind of playing a bit of a longer game, right? You've got a big big tanky front line in the Sejuani and the Poppy. You're going to want a couple of items before they really are going to be able to survive the poke that's going to be coming out from RA. And you've got this Sylas, you've got this Aphelios. You're going to scale very well. But for RA, honestly, I like the idea of them starting to be a little bit more aggressive because this bottom advantage is not as significant. That's 3 levels. Yeah. Wait a second. Leyan is 3 levels up on Beichuan after stealing that crop. The man is a mod. He's just everywhere on the map. Wherever Beichuan goes, Leyan's there to ruin his day.
It's actually crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that big of a level difference in junglers. But hey, we'll see. Again, we have differing win conditions going on right now. That's the crazy thing. Is like you can see each moment in their own right and be like, oh my god, this game is dominant, right? You're seeing the CS differentials for RA in its own right. It's crazy. 5-0 for TT in its own right is crazy, but both trains are steaming along at the same time, like right next to each other, parallel, and just seeing which one's going to crash first.
Yeah. I feel like the onus is on RA, though, to make things happen, because this Zoe and this Nidalee are going to struggle later on in the game when it comes to trying to find picks onto Beichuan, onto Hoya, onto Yaoyao. Like, they're happy to soak that poke up, which means that you need to be finding Kepler. You need to be finding Ucal. But even Ucal is going to be a bit tough. There's a bubble, though.
Yuyanjia flashes for it, but the flash comes out from Ucal. Quick hands and an attempt from RA.
Yeah. And crucially, RA need to be ahead. I talked about the way that they have to play around objectives earlier on, right? We've got a Drake coming up in 35 seconds. We need to see RA moving into the area and getting vision in advance so it's hard for TT to move it.
So Kepler has a Gale Force over iBoy right now. iBoy is still struggling to finish that first mythic item. Wonder if TT utilized this strength, right? As we're seeing dragon spawning in about 20 seconds. Would be a second dragon for them, so at least stacking a little bit in their favor here. But again, for RA, when they go into these fights, it's about setup. It's about getting that poke down before the fight, get these health bars down. And for TT, it's about dodging all of that and still being the beefy bodies you are to try to force a fight.
Yeah, but RA doing a good job of controlling that vision, right? So it makes it a little bit more difficult for TT. If anyone gets caught by a bubble this early on in the game with a Nightbringer Nidalee spear to land as well, that's a scary situation to walk into. Yaoyao happy to tank it for now. And there we go. That's interaction we talked about before, right? Bubble hits, you have to use the ultimate. And now with that on cooldown, it's really difficult for TT to contest.
They're going to go in on the cube, though. Beichuan just playing with the aggression. Strive has been so on point with these bubbles. He has pushed off the pressure that TT has been trying to put on so many times. Bottom side, though, we will see the dragon go down to RA, so a little bit of pressure in the mid lane gives that over. And Beichuan, almost gets hit by that max range spear. We'll get a pause. I saw the Mega Death Rocket there with that little explosion at the bottom right, but wow, that was I don't know what happened. I didn't see anything crazy, but Beichuan almost died right there.
Yeah, I will say I love this from RA, right? Knowing that they are strong right now, knowing that realistically, if they can control River, it's impossible for TT to just muscle in without taking massive damage on the way into the fight. So really, really good stuff. RA grabbed themselves that early Drake. And I'm a little nervous for the side of TT that rocket is about to connect onto Beichuan. I didn't see if the rocket has exploded or if that's just still launching.
I think that's when it like powers up, when it like travels that certain distance.
So Beichuan, he's in a little bit of trouble, I'll say. But yeah, I will say I'm impressed by RA because we came in today saying RA have to bring it in the early game, right? That was the big like overall headline for this matchup, because TT have been so good at getting Yaoyao out of lane in the bottom side, getting Beichuan, and attacking this mid lane. Instead, they focus on the bottom lane, and Leyan is like, look, you're going to play Poppy, you're going to gank the bottom lane, I'm just going to take absolutely everything away from you. And it means that Beichuan is so far behind now that TT can't really enact this like 3v3 strategy that they usually play for.
Yeah, it's such an interesting duality in this one, because we are seeing those different game styles. We set it out from the draft, right? We saw they were obviously at least bringing in different strategies, but it's all about, especially for RA execution, right? We've seen Strive a lot of with those offsetting bubbles, trying to, when vision is being put down from TT, he's dissuading them from that. He's getting really nicely timed bubbles, but that's going to become more and more crucial, right? The pickouts before the fights are going to become more and more crucial, and a momentum shift like this where they haven't gotten kills yet, right? But they're still trying to take skirmishes. But where we left off, right? If they can kind of switch the momentum in that fashion, not only getting the passive advantages through farming, but as well as starting to turn the team fights around, that's where, you know, RA just seem like they can take that momentum to this mid game.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, you know, I was talking about TT having a lot of scaling with this Aphelios later on in the game, right?
Whoa.
Well, I guess the Rocket
okay.
didn't. I guess we never get to see that one. Herald start up here. I'm going to forget talking about the comps for now, because I think we might have another fight on our hands here, Mazel.
We got a lot of pings coming, and Hoya's just being a bird's eye view. Actually looks like TT going to position down towards iBoy. They're picking down towards iBoy. He immediately
get
gets
out of there,
pings
buddy.
from, he gets pings from his teammates like, okay, there's something coming down there. Need to be careful. So the play for TT not going to work out. Kepler will get the tower down in bottom lane, though, so that'll be huge. And as well as for pressure for TT to move Kepler out of this side lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to get the tower, ultimately. Still a positive for them, as Hoya actually steals away the chicken. It's time for a bit of revenge in this jungle. Leyan getting out mammaled in the jungle. The pig greater than the cougar, I guess.
I mean, there's a human on there, too, so I guess you got all of it. Yeah, hey, it all works out in the end, I guess. But I love that we have seen Hoya being aggressive in a lot of these trades, even with that early disadvantage of the top lane, right? The Sejuani is still going to be so crucial for TT's composition, and some of that poking aggression that we're seeing him to force lands hands sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So let's kind of talk about the state of the game right now, because we are almost dead even in gold. It's one Drake apiece as well. And it does feel like we've got two drastically different advantages. My concern, though, the more I think about these compositions, I feel like Kepler, if RA have their way, should never actually be able to use this lead, right? Aphelios, generally speaking, wants short-range fights, and he'll be able to get some hits on the Aatrox. But Aatrox, ultimately, if an actual team fight occurs, Aatrox is in his dream scenario where you've got 4 melee characters jumping on you. Like, Aatrox, that's his wet dream, right? Whereas for Aphelios, you're against so many ranged targets, you're never actually going to be able to just auto freely unless RA make a misstep. So RA should not be looking for actual team fights. They want to be looking to poke and kite back and deny Kepler any opportunity to do that. If RA play correctly, they can have a really oppressive game of League of Legends.
I also think you can't discount the synergy that's in TT's composition as well when you're looking at Hoya, especially with the synergies of melee champions, and especially in these fights with the pickouts. In moments like this where you're seeing CC be so important for Kepler to get lockdowns, I think it can be so heavy to deal with. iBoy does get that red buff, so RA coming out on top again, I guess, in that situation. TT, though, they're looking right to the mid lane.
Yeah, TT really focused on these towers, right? We saw Kepler getting the one on the bottom side. That's a huge bubble.
He gets hit by the paddle star as well. The depth charge comes through. TP on the back end from Cube as well. TT need to turn the fight. Yuyanjia is the target now. Hoya is on the side. You've got Cube tanking it up in the mid as everyone from RA is now bringing the reinforcements. iBoy had gotten a little bit excited, but they can't necessarily catch the rest of TT. Oh, Nidalee spear almost ends Yaoyao's life, but the trap does, and Strive gets the kill. That's 2 on the board for RA, and they are pushing with the Rift Herald to mid lane now.
And now you see the strength of this RA composition. Another bubble!
Strive is just too good, man. Too good. The bubbles have made the difference. It's actually incredible.
Yeah, and you see the power of this Aatrox against a melee composition, right? Where he's just able to continuously walk forwards, and realistically, there isn't that much damage. And Kepler, the entire time, like the bubbles landing onto him, but also just watch Kepler during this replay. Gets hit by this bubble, which I will say, Stripe, that was an absolutely gorgeous bubble. Great follow-up there, depth charge. Yaoyao doing an amazing job of denying Yuyanjia here. Fantastic stuff. But then Kepler basically can't do anything this entire fight, right? He can get a couple of hits onto Cube, but ultimately just in full retreat. And this is what I'm talking about, right? Cube being the big front line while the rest of RA play at range. Never get close enough for the Aphelios to have any impact.
And you pick this composition to be beefy bodies to be able to take a lot of this poke that we're seeing. But in this situation, they cannot. I mean, even the tankiest members are still getting chunked out by these spears, by these paddle stars. So RA definitely playing towards their win condition. It looks like they just want to continuously snowball, right? They have gotten themselves about a 2.5k lead here. We have another dragon spawning on the table. This will be second for them, and the avalanche might continue.
Absolutely, and I really don't think this is one that TT can fight for, but it looks like they want to based on their positioning right now. Hoya in the mid lane, TT trying to move in. This could just be a 50-50 spot, honestly.
Keeper's verdict is out, will miss. They're still into the pit. Oh no, Hoya is caught on the side, and all of RA are covered there. Leyan goes over the wall. They leave the dragon. He's back in the pit, but TT take it. Leyan is on the side, but they decide actually to back away, giving that objective over. There's pinks towards the Baron pit right now for RA. I feel like they should just go to mid.
I will say, with a pick onto Hoya, maybe they can just brute force something here, because TT, like I said before, it's really difficult to face check into this composition. Yaoyao doesn't have his Unbreakable Will available. It's going to be very difficult to move into the space. Blue Trinket comes out, but honestly, RA can just keep TT at arm's length. Look for bubbles from Strive, look for spears from Leyan.
Double Everfrost connects, and Ucal is going ham in there. He needs to be a little careful. Yaoyao doesn't have a lot of health. Here's the TP now coming in from Hoya. This is a tricky situation for RA. We said the slip-ups can mean doom, and now TT move into position here. Yuyanjia's like, no way, Jose. We're going back in. Yaoyao very, very low, but it's going to be Yuyanjia first target down. Another Sleepy Trouble Bubble will not connect onto Kepler, and both teams back away from the Baron pit. Leyan needs to get out of the back of the pit here as he jumps over. Hoya, nice Glacial Prison over the side, though. He doesn't have the CC, though. Ucal's caught as well. How does the carousel keep on turning here? Ucal goes down to Cube. And now RA come back to life out of nowhere. It's Frankenstein's Monster, Munchables. And RA is chasing down TT.
What is this game? It's still going.
Kepler, he's fighting it. He is the Gale Force. There's only 2 members, and Cube shuts them down. The World Ender will end the fight, and RA come out on top.
What was that fight? There was like a full minute of battling. RA using the Baron as a bait, trying to get a 4v5, but then overcommitting to the play. The TP comes in from Hoya. It looks like TT are going to be at the advantage, but then the spears, the bubbles coming out from this RA composition, so difficult to deal with. Take a look at this pick. Leyan trying to get picked on the top side, but still keeping an eye on Ucal, finds that max range spear, the Cube finishes it off. And then you see TT trying to retreat. You cannot retreat from this composition. They have so much range. They have so much chase down potential with this Nidalee. And then you see Cube just charging in. Nobody can really deal with this Aatrox.
Yeah, he's so ridiculously strong. He is a big difference maker in terms of the catch and at least trapping of TT in a lot of these situations. But also, that was overzealous from TT, right? Like Hoya going for that Glacial Print. They were backing away. You didn't need to fight that, but the carousel kept turning, and they just wanted to keep going with the aggression, and it comes back to bite them. So now TT kind of need to cool down a little bit, maybe relent a bit on that aggression, but still try to find out what their next moves are, especially for Beichuan.
Yeah, I just want to quickly point out Leyan currently at 200 CS in the jungle, almost with a flame horizon at this point. And he has 3 full items with his boots. We've got to pick on the top side, though.
They do find Strive. He goes golden, buys some time. Tower on the bottom lane falls, but Strive goes down. Gold to Hoya. RA not really in position to respond here, as Leyan actually will take his Krugs. And I was going to say if Yuyanjia maybe wants to position, iBoy was on his way up here, but the backs come through for TT. We'll just get the reset on the map.
And in the meantime, Cube just hammered away. Already took the 1 tier 1, getting about half of the damage down in the bottom side onto the tier 2 as well, but he'll be able to back away. So we kind of reset for a second here. The Baron was in the end taken by RA. I guess that was taken during the replay. We didn't actually see the Baron taken there. I assume off of the resets and off of that fight, they did finish that Baron off. So good stuff here by RA, but importantly, a good pick from TT, right? They need to stay proactive. They can't afford to just let RA set the pace of the game, because that's where things get really dicey.
They're starting to pick up all the global gold too, right? They've gotten all the outer towers at this point. They even have the tier 2 in the mid lane. Like, the gold lead is substantial for them. And Hoya's just trying to force a fight again under tower. They're taking so much damage from the turret, and Strive gets out after that glacial prison. This is the comp. You literally don't want to run from it, right? And here comes another Sleepy Trouble Bubble. A big Mega Death Rocket. It's a little bit high health target, so not going to do too much. But that is the fear, is that RA can instantly turn on a fight where you're running away.
Yeah, I want to quickly point something out as well. With Drake coming up in 30 seconds, it's crucial that TT took that previous Drake. Remember when they were both posturing, and we see TT move in and able to take that Cloud Drake? Crucially, it means that RA, even though they have control of the map, and realistically, TT can't contest this next Drake, still a long time until any soul would come online. So that little interaction previously, doing so much to buy space and time in this game for TT. I'm just a little concerned that it doesn't necessarily get that much easier unless TT can just hold on and get a few more items, but they're a long way away from these tanks being able to soak up much. Oh yeah, kind of proving my point there, but kind of surviving well, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of damage out of Yuyanjia there. They did lose a little bit more pressure at the bottom lane, and the Dragon will immediately go over to RA, but I was looking at the positioning on the map, but TT were fine in terms of deciding to give this one up, right? They kept Beichuan on the top side. They kept Ucal on the top side, just trying to get some of that split pressure going.
Yeah, trying to find something, anything at this point. And you can see Ucal farming up a storm here, 250 CS on the Sylas. Knows that he's going to have a big impact here. And look at the Morellos on the way here for Ucal. You can see one on the other side for Leyan as well. Although there's not really that much sustain, just the Sylas and I suppose the Alistar. But you can see some of the individual leads as well.
Look at the gold difference between Beichuan and Leyan. Oh my god.
I didn't get a chance to look at it because they only flicked up for a second.
Oh my god.
I mean, that represents more than the team, or not quite more, but not far off the team difference, right? Just in the pocket of Leyan.
Yeah, that's not going to feel good.
The problem is, we can talk about scaling all we want, but at the end of the day, TT are almost 10,000 gold down, and it's only getting worse. And against the composition that is really difficult to face check into if they have control. Well, RA have infinite control in this game right now. So TT, I will say, doing a decent job to at least trade on the map. Like, at least Hoya's getting a tier 2 for this, but the question is, can you actually convert this into anything? Because they kind of need a miracle fight at this point.
I mean, I'm obviously keeping my eyes on the 3-item Aphelios. Kepler has a lot to say in this, but that's the thing with these. Like, we were talking about so much execution. It sucks because it comes down to literally you get caught once by one spear or one Sleepy Trouble Bubble over one Battle Star. Kepler is the one that dies out of this entire team. So it's something always to watch out on because he is, right, the double-edged sword at this point. He can carry, but if you lose him, can also cost the game.
And just remember as well, scores don't matter for TT here. Winning matters. They need to win this series. And, you know, RA have not had that great of a split overall, but looking fantastic in this game and showing TT that they know how to play.
That's a double TP onto iBoy, who flashes away immediately. TT just pounced out of nowhere, but I don't know if it's a pounce in the right direction. Kepler does use the Moonlight Vigil, but now iBoy's excited. TT are falling apart. Nice re-engage, though. They get on the back line, but they have to watch out for Cube. Cube has the World Ender, and he's doing serious work to Kepler. Ucal is on the separation. TT, are they finding the front to back? Kepler is coming online here, Munchables. And the Sleepy Trouble Bubble connects. TT end up winning out on the fight. Doesn't do much to their gold deficit, but maybe they continue to go through. Ucal tries to hit the Everfrost again. Leyan goes golden. Leyan will go down as well to Ucal. He doesn't get Yaoyao in the end.
Mazel, that's Baron. Baron literally just spawning onto the map. Leyan dead for 45 seconds. Beichuan is about to respawn. Strive and Yuyanjia have a mountain to climb here. It was a 10,000 gold lead before that play. TT know that playoffs is on the line. This would be their first playoffs in 3 years, and they want it bad.
That is decisiveness to a T, and Ucal, he's putting on the Gary. pants. My God, the confidence we saw on his face in that lineup. I didn't know it transitioned to this. TT make the double TP call onto a retreating RA, and this is what happens, Munchables.
Great decisive play here from TT. And crucially, we keep talking about the range discrepancy between these two teams. Well, when you TP on the flank, when Beichuan just flashes in, it gives so much space for Kepler to actually get into this fight. Zoned by the bubble to start with, but here, you see, he just walks on forward. The knockup comes on in. The amount of CC coming out from his team, and Kepler gale forces forward to make sure he can get some damage in to follow. And then, once Leyan and Strive are forced to, like, engage into the fight like this to protect their team, they can't enact this same, like, kite back style. Cube is left alone. And then this is just greedy from RA. Not realizing the situation, not realizing they're being flanked. And Ucal, like you said, putting on the carry pants. I mean, this is an unbelievable performance on the Sylas, then finding a solo kill after the fact as well. Ucal is popping off. He's almost full build at this point.
The scariest part is the tank composition, the beefiness. I mean, they're starting to stack on the pounds here, Munchables, and that's what's getting scary. The poke composition still hurts, though. And Kepler, you can't get caught like that. You literally cannot let that happen. And devastation hits TT.
That is literally worst case scenario here for TT. Kepler getting caught like that. You can see Hoya going to be forced to recall because if RA are left alone in the mid lane, they'll just end the game at this point. 30 seconds until Kepler comes up. I don't think RA can end the game, but I'm not sure TT can fight for this inhib.
I don't think they can either, especially if any of that poke lands. I mean, you see the minions working on the bottom side inhib against RA, but TT lose their mid inhib. They'll have to seed that and a lot of pressure in the mid lane, so have to keep an eye on those super minions spawning there. But big mistake from TT in a moment where they were seizing control of the game, right? They had cut that gold differential into less than half, and now RA feel like they're right back in the driver's seat. The inhib tower does fall in the bottom lane, but that'll be third dragon for RA.
The Winions coming up big for TT there. At least they get something just thanks to that massive wave that Hoya set up earlier on. Crucially, though, that mid inhib taken, and now we are on Soul Point. We talked about the crucial Drake that TT were able to get earlier. Well, their time is up on that one. They've got 5 minutes until a Soul Point fight. And once again, RA, if they're in control at that time, it's difficult for TT to move in. We saw the damage that's coming out onto Beichuan. I mean, look at his build. Doesn't have that much MR, right? He's got a bit on his Mythic, but going for a Dead Man's Plate second means that actually, if a bubble lands from Strive and a spear from Leyan, you're not going to be able to tank that.
It's going to be really difficult. Ucal needs to also be very careful because Q can lock you down, and that's where the rest of that combo comes through. TT still playing with some aggression, though. Playing into the enemy jungle here with a little bit of that pressure. Got to watch out for the Sleepy Trouble bubbles, though. And that's some of the pressure, especially with the vision game, that TT is trying to get a hold of here. They're trying to make sure that a lot of these avenues for Kepler are visioned up so he doesn't continuously get picked out.
I love that TT is still being aggressive here. Yuyanjia goes for an engage.
That's immediately going golden for Kepler. The tower falls as well. Now Ucal and Kepler on the back. This is a front to back that they'll take all day long. And Cube, you might be tanky, but you ain't going to take him down, and you ain't going to survive. This is pressure from TT, and this is their comp coming to life.
Oh, strikes trouble.
Double knock up. Yaoyao. Gale Force in the Moonlight Vigil. Kepler. It wants to put the nail in the coffin here. iBoy, he's looking to get excited. TP from TT. They can't. Well, okay. But there you go. A little bit of damage there. The tower does fall, and the inhib as well. So even more pressure. Can't they just end the game?
I think they might. iBoy's in trouble here. Forced onto the fountain. And crucially, the engage is beautiful from TT.
I gotta see this gold lead. The confidence reigns supreme. They just gotta end the game.
Wait a second.
TT, they
no
can't
way.
Get in.
No way.
No way. Ucal, he finishes it. A quadra for iBoy, but it's denial. And TT take game one.
Heads in the hands there from the players of TT. Even with the win, you can see the stress that this team was under in that one. And iBoy, one auto, I'm pretty sure, away from a pentakill that would save the game from RA, but could not get the damage out. That could not have been a closer finish, and you can feel how badly TT need this series win. They get game one on the board.
Dude, the way they did it, like, it's like they just said, guys, we got to win this game. Like, all right, let's do it. Double TP, let's win. And yes, Kepler gets caught. But then they just continuously press into the face of RA. Like, we saw RA dictating a lot of the farming, a lot of the map and vision control, where they were positioned. But then all of a sudden, like, TT just realized we have the beefy comp. We just need to set up front to backs. And they did so time and time again. And like I said, I got to see that gold graph, man. At one point, RA were up like 8,000 gold. It was back and forth, but TT pounced at the right moment.
And this is what we've been talking about all split with TT, is that decisiveness, right? We saw that the ranged composition being so difficult to play against, where you can't really face check in, but RA pushing to invade the jungle again when there was all kinds of vision around Baron is inherently a mistake, right? Because we saw the double TP come in. That was a sweepable ward. It's not like RA couldn't have swept the area, but they wanted to go for the invade. They wanted to keep Leyan building that advantage he had in the jungle. And I feel like this is the story of Nidalee, this split across the LPL, is you get a massive advantage, but then you can't really convert it into a win because ultimately, TT, like you say, the double TP fight, absolutely beautiful. I love that snap decision. But then pressuring in the top side, and RA are like, okay, I guess we go 5v5 siege defense. But then we saw Beichuan basically zone everyone away with the keeper's verdict. He's just spinning the hammer above his head. Never, it, like, takes forever to throw it. And even though he doesn't hit the ultimate, everyone has to respect the fact that the ultimate is coming, so they still have to stay away, and it means that first pick can happen for TT. Then the fight isn't fair anymore. They keep on getting close, and crucially, Kepler has space. When TT are getting in RA's face like that, Kepler has space to actually get damage out in the fight. And like you said during the clip, right, Kepler going forwards with the Gale Force, getting that big damage down, and we all know what Aphelios can do when he's got 3 items.
Man, for me, it's also the timing of the Moonlight Visual plus Gale Force, like literally at the same moment. It felt like it's actually crazy. We do have a little break here while we do get ready for that second game. So let's go ahead and sit it. We'll be right back with game 2 of our first best of 3.